Welcome to the Shootin' Show. Stand by for shots fired.
Hello, I'm Johnny Rowland, your host of the Shootin' Show, and welcome to today's program. We have another great show for you. Have some footage we shot in South Dakota this past week. I know you're really going to enjoy. We went to the Corbon's new factory, or at least what they're working on. They're in a building process now. I know you're going to enjoy that. We saw some really neat things. I do want to say we appreciate every last one of you being with us. Friends, I tell you what, our health club is taking off. We're going to have a little piece on that a little bit later. But I've never heard of a health system that gave you a 100% money-back guarantee if you don't like it. So this is great. We'll be talking about that a little bit later. Anyway, I also want to say a welcome and hello to some good friends of mine that live just outside Chicago. I want to say hello to Beth and Chloe Hurt and their kids, Cindy and Ronald and Charlotte, and their families. We're so glad to have them with us this week. So anyway, let's get another shooting show underway. You know, friends, what's better than one Springfield Armory 45 1911? Well, heck, two of them. Now, friends, we're looking at a most interesting gun today. This is an 1896 Mauser pistol. And this, as we've said many times, semi-automatic technology is over 100 years old. Well, this gun was finalized in its design in 1896. The earliest models of these will be 99 years old this year. So let me tell you what, technology did not just happen in the 20th century. Now this gun is something that certainly a collectible that the good folks at Britton's have loaned us for testing on our program today. But friends, I tell you what, going back in time, it shoots a 7.63 by 25, I believe, cartridge. It's called a 7.63 Mauser, and it is, I'll tell you what, in its day, for that matter, even today, it is a high-performance cartridge. It is a bottleneck pistol cartridge, shooting an 88 grain bullet at, we actually chronographed this gun at 1,300 feet per second. Now, friends, as I was saying, 1,300 feet per second out of this old gun is pretty darn sporty performance. And yes, it's windy out here today. Bear with us a little bit on the breeze, but it is such a pretty day. We just had a front pass through here, and I tell you what, friends, let me tell you what, it's about 75, 80 degrees out here now. It's so pretty. This is as good as it gets, believe me. Anyway, as far as a use for this gun, it was, I suppose, thought to be a good candidate for a military type handgun. And as I understand it, no major military organization ever actually adopted this gun, although it showed up in armies having officers and soldiers use them all over the world, because a lot of these guns were made. Now then, friends, it is certainly a locked breech gun, and I'll show you how it works in just a minute. But as we'll notice in a moment, there are no screws on this gun. This thing goes together like a jigsaw puzzle. It was very expensive to make, but it looks to be a robust design. It has about a 6.5 inch barrel, this particular gun does. Also has sights that the full gradient, or the range, goes out to 1,000 meters. Now wait a minute, you know, that's a little optimistic for one of these things, but yeah, it'll throw a bullet out there, but where it would hit, I have no earthly idea. As I understand it, this gun was a big favorite of Winston Churchill, and it had a 10-round staggered box magazine. Now friends, see, we've had staggered magazines way on back before 1900, just going to show how the technology has existed for so long. And this is the first one of these I have ever handled and shot, and it's very impressive. Has very little recoil. In fact, we'll go ahead and load it, and it loaded with a stripper clip down from the top here. And like I said, it would hold 10 in that magazine. I'm going to hold it back and put one in the magazine. And now I'm going to drop that slide, the bolt there, and take a look at it in my hands. We're just going to shoot over here to show you just how much recoil, in fact, it doesn't have. So let's take a look here. See, just almost no recoil whatsoever. I tell you what, this little thing is loud. It's a loud cartridge. You darn sure wouldn't want to shoot any handgun, for that matter, other than a pellet pistol, something like that. without hearing protection. It is so important, and of course eye protection. If you have one of these, or or you plan to add one to your collection, you really should have it checked out by a competent gunsmith, because some of these old guns, they used to have corrosive primers even with smokeless powder, and this particular example is in pretty remarkable condition. It's missing a lot of the finish, but all of the serial numbered parts match each other, and it's really quite a nice old gun. If you would like to add this to your collection, Britain's does have it on sale in Shreveport. That's Britain's in Shreveport, and you might give them a call if you were interested in it, because it is certainly a good shooter. Now friends, on your left you'll see a 38 special cartridge, and this is the 7.63 Mauser over on your right, and you can tell they're approximately, they approach the same length, but the 7.63 Mauser is a bottleneck cartridge. This is a 30 caliber bullet versus our 35, essentially a 38, but in actuality a 35 caliber bullet on the 38 special. So this gives you an idea of comparison. Although this is I'd like to see some pressure statistics on the 7.63 Mauser, because I'm sure it's pretty hot. Now friends, taking a look at our old Mauser here, see, is that a hammer fall or what? Of course, here's your firing pin, and it's really interesting how these work, but you'll see the seams, these were so finely made. It's really, I would imagine, a tremendous amount of hand work, and the sights are pretty good. They're easy to see, easy to use. Here's your safety right here. This is of course cocked. You can carry it in the safety on cock position, or in fact you could let the hammer down and put the safety in the on position. It wouldn't cock at all. I certainly would not, this would not be my first choice for home defense, but as far as fun and going out and plinking and experiencing history, well, it is certainly good for that. These were called broom handle Mausers because, see, the shape of the grip is sort of like a broom handle. They were also, a lot of these were converted to 9mm, and the ones with 9 have a great big 9 engraved here on the grip, so you won't mistake which caliber you're shooting. But here are the sights, excellent, adjustable, certainly for elevation sights, and like I said, 1,000 meters, a little optimistic I think with the cartridge. Let's take a look at how it works. Now friends, let's take the magazine follower out. Of course, this has a little button here, you push it, just comes right out, easy to clean. See, this is where the magazine is. Of course, this is an enclosed, not a non-detachable magazine. This is just a follower and spring. Well, let's take a look. Okay, most interesting how these things work. Now you'll notice, we'll go ahead and cock it. We'll take our safety off and we'll go ahead and cock it. All right, you'll notice there's actually 3 pieces here. There's the bottom of the receiver, the top part of the receiver, and then the bolt. So here's how these things work. You'll notice at this point you cannot open the bolt on the gun. It will not come back. The top part of the receiver actually moves back like so. It moves back on the bottom part of the receiver, and let's see if I can hold it there, and now the bolt will freely move. But what happens, the barrel and the bolt are locked together for an instant while the bullet is getting out of the barrel, so the pressure can drop, and it's certainly locked together. Now then, when the top part of the receiver comes back, then it's free to move and eject the spent cartridge and pick up another one from the magazine. All right friends, we put our magazine floor plate back in. We'll go ahead and cock it and we'll open it up and realize, of course, like I said, you have a little groove here. These are cartridges. There were 10 at a time on a stripper clip, and we'll hold our slide back here. We're going to press the bullet in place here in the magazine. So we can... All right friends, of course the way this works, you would let the slide go. Of course it's cocked and ready to go now. So let's take a look. We have our steel plate out here. Let's just see what we can do with it here briefly. Well, friends, needless to say, as I mentioned earlier, this is the first one of these guns I've really ever had the chance to handle or shoot. But it is most remarkable how they were made, and just realize that technology has been around for a long time. You know, so many people, especially younger people, have the tendency to think that history began when they were born. But no, things have been going on for some time, longer than any of us have been here. So this is something we thought you'd enjoy seeing. I've really enjoyed playing with it, and like I said, it is for sale at Britton's in Shreveport. And if you're a collector or someone who'd like to have one of these old guns, we ought to give them a call. Well, Jerry, you're pretty good with that Colt 45.
Well, thank you, Johnny. I tell you what, I like that. I believe I like it about as well as I do my 357.
Well, I tell you what, they're real fine guns, but you know, they do have, they are powerful and compact. And friends, Jerry Rowland here has got something that's powerful and compact to tell you about.
You better believe it. Johnny, I'll tell you one thing. We can't stop the clock from moving forward. You know, the option is that we're not here anymore. But we can do something about how we feel and the kind of health that we experience as we move on out to the later years of life. I was really excited. Just before I got down here, I learned some things that I didn't even know last week. But when we're kids, about 80 to 90% of our body is water. And this water is free-flowing, real mobile, and it's carrying this food in your cells. It's cleansing those cells. Now then, as we get older, the table starts dropping in our body, and it gets bound up. Now then, the cells are not being fed. They're not being cleansed. We start dehydrating. It goes from 80 to 90%, about 70% when we get adult, and then as we start maturing, it drops on down below 50% and way on down below that in some cases. And that's what we do. And we're excited. I'm telling you, I feel so good. I've really, 20, 30 years younger, I've lost a lot of weight.
That's true, you've lost 40 pounds since January, right?
40 pounds, and I do feel good. I'm telling you, I feel good. Like I say, we can't stop the clock. But just because we're getting older doesn't mean that our health has to break down. We have a system that can make all the difference in the world. We are really excited about the response we're getting, but we're only touching the surface of what is going to happen. Give us a call, let us talk to you, let us show you what's going on. You're going to be excited about what's going on just like we are. I appreciate it very much. We're looking to talk to you personally.
If you want to feel better, and that's what it's all about, feeling good and enjoying life. You know what, if you got your health, there's just anything you can do, especially if you're middle-aged like some of us here are, and you know so much more than you did when you were a kid. And how about feeling like you did years ago? Tell you what, friends, this may be the best thing that we've heard of in years. So absolutely, give us a call, 1-800-895-7916, Shootin' Show Health Club, 1-800-895-7916. And if you have not had a return call, call us back. Our operator may have gotten your number or your address wrong. If you hadn't heard within, say, 3 or 4 days of the time you call and leave your name and number, please call us back and re-give it to our operators. So because they're human too and they make mistakes sometimes. So we want to talk to everyone who's called in on this.
That's right.
Because you're going to be glad that you did call. This is important. Jerry's going to get back to you immediately as soon as he or one of his staff, probably him, because you're spending long days making these calls.
I'm loving it. It's fun.
Hey, it is great.
Fun.
Let's do it, friends.
All right. Thank you.
Now, folks, for information on the Shootin' Show Health Club, give us a call, 1-800-895-7916. Leave your name and address, phone number if you can, certainly. 1-800-895-7916. Trust me, this will help all of you.
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after these important messages.
Friends, all of us as shooting enthusiasts should be subscribing to Shotgun News, the trading post for anything that shoots. 3 big issues monthly with literally thousands and thousands of firearms bargains. Shotgun News, Post Office Box 669, Hastings, Nebraska, the zip code 68902, their phone number, area 402-463-4589, MasterCard or Visa for subscriptions only. Now call them at 1-800-345-6923. The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
friends, you'll recognize this fine gentleman standing next to me, Peter Pye with Corbon Ammunition. And you know how we feel about Corbon Ammunition on this program. Well, here we are today in southern South Dakota. How about
Actually,
that?
western South Dakota.
How about southwestern South Dakota?
In Sturgis, South Dakota.
In Sturgis.
Right.
And sir,
We just moved over here from Detroit. April 1st, we started production in Sturgis, South Dakota, moved over here from Detroit, Michigan. And I got to say that's been a great move, and we're up in full production here.
Well, Peter, I tell you, this is some of the prettiest country I ever saw here
Sure
in
is.
Sturgis. And now, a lot of things that they do here at Corbon, actually, Peter's not going to show everybody in the world because they have some their own processes of doing things. And let me mention, in addition, now we have, this is really a mass production machine here. Is that right?
Right, this is the Amaload machine made by Amaload in Santa Ana, California. Production rate is about 5,000 rounds an hour. And it is probably the state-of-the-art ammunition loading machine in the country today.
Well, Peter, looking here, you've got a room full of these machines, and of course, you folks have such a tremendous demand for ammunition. But machines like this, you can load a lot of ammunition, can't you?
Yeah, so, production rate is about 5,000 rounds an hour.
Friends, that's even more than I can shoot. Well, Peter's going to show us this machine in operation. And I tell you what, we want to wish you folks good luck and congratulations certainly on your move out here to South Dakota.
It's good to be here.
Because this is really a great location.
Welcome to the United Free States of America.
All right. Well, you know, that's great. That's really true. It is. It's people are more independent here. They're more free.
That's right.
And in fact,
You find that mostly all your gun and ammunition manufacturers have all relocated to South Dakota. We've had quite an influx of this type of business.
well, I think it'd be safe to say that South Dakota is a shooter and manufacturer-friendly region, right?
Absolutely. It sure is.
Well, we've been driving around today and met with some of the nicest people you ever saw. And, well, Peter, show us this machine in operation for just a moment. Peter, I tell you what, that's an impressive machine. Like I said, there are a lot of things you just don't want shown or don't want known because you do have some secrets. They have some special procedures here that I think some of the other larger ammunition companies, I don't believe they have some of these things.
Well, it's not that they don't have them. I think a lot of them, they just don't. It takes a board meeting to introduce a new cartridge or to change some some things around to introduce a better line of ammunition. And over here, we don't have to call a board meeting. When we want to put out the best ammo, we just go and do it.
Well, you're looking at the board right here.
That's right. That's it. It just takes one decision.
Well, and also you will make custom loadings.
Yeah. We do. We have our custom shop, and in our custom shop, you can order some of the real specialty stuff like 300 Whisper, the 375 JDJ. We do all the 44 Magnum with the JD Jones bullets. We're also coming out now with the 356 TSW, 357 SIG. So we have a.
So you're going to be making the 357 SIG also?
Yes, we should be in production probably by mid-July on the SIG, and the 357 TSW, which is Team Smith & Wesson.
Right.
That's out right now.
Well, I'm very pleased to hear that. If you've been wondering if you got one of those TSW, 356 TSW guns, well, you can call Corbon to get it.
Right.
Now, you know, we've been talking for the last couple of weeks about the excellent Corbon 44 Special ammunition that they're making available. I saw some 340 grain 44 Magnums over there.
Right, that has the JD Jones bullet. It's a premium, ultra, super hard cast, 340 grain weight. It's made out of pure linotype, and we've had customers that have taken that to Africa and shot clean through an elephant's head.
My goodness. I also saw some 454 Casull.
Yeah, the 454 Casull with the same bullet.
Well, I'll tell you what, friends, it's been quite an education being here today. Peter and his organization have been very, very gracious to us, and we wish them continued and upgraded success.
Well, good. Thank you, Johnny. It's good to have you come down and visit us.
Well, I tell you what, friends, this is, I guess we should put in a thing for Sturgis, shouldn't we?
Sure, City of Sturgis, best city in the world.
I tell you, this is where the big motorcycle rally is in August, I believe.
Right, August the 7th of this year, I think it is.
But friends, trust me on this one. If you haven't seen Mount Rushmore, and I hope we have time to get out there today to take a picture of it. If you haven't seen Mount Rushmore, you need to come and see it. This is absolutely some of the prettiest country in the world right here in Sturgis, South Dakota. So we hope to get to come back soon. And of course, you had a prairie dog hunt here recently.
Yeah, we just had actually the second annual prairie dog hunt with Dakota Arms and Corbin, and we went out and shot some prairie dogs and took the riders out, and they had a good time. And we'll do it again next year.
Well, we do appreciate you inviting us to it. I wasn't able to come, but hey, next year.
Alrighty, sounds good.
Well, Peter, we'll be talking to you soon. And hey, friends, you know the number. Let's give Corbin a call. Let's get you some real bullets for your guns.
Okay.
You know, friends, this box of Corbin ammunition and this Wesson 41 Magnum are in fact a perfect match for each other. But it doesn't matter whatever gun you may have, like this SKS or a hunting rifle or a 38 Special or a 9mm, makes no difference, because Corbin is absolutely the best factory ammunition that money can buy, period. And also, friends, when you see a box of Corbin on the shelf or you give them a call, realize that Corbin is helping keep the shooting show on the air. They've been one of our most dedicated sponsors. You cannot find finer people in the entire shooting industry. For information on Corbin ammunition, call them 1-800-626-7266. Again, 1-800-626-7266. Tell them you saw it on the Shooting Show. Friends, we hope you're enjoying our program this week. I tell you, we've really had an exciting week. We had a trip into South Dakota, and let me say a word about some of the people we met. You know, there are places in America, Peter with Corbin made reference to the free states of America. Well, trust me, some of the nicest people that I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. If you go through Elk Point, South Dakota, be sure and stop at Cody's Restaurant there. It's right off the interstate. And they're very, very nice people. They have excellent food. And please tell them that you saw it on the Shooting Show. That's at Elk Point, South Dakota. Well, sir, I do want to mention when we were out at Mount Rushmore, I do want to add, and we'll run that picture briefly while we're talking. It's chilling, in fact, to see these great stone sculptures that are so effective. I tell you what, it just makes the chills come up if you're proud to be an American and you're a patriotic citizen. It just does something to you, seeing those great stone faces. Seems like, I tell you what, it almost looks like they'd talk to you if they had a chance. It was absolutely just wonderful. And I do want to answer one piece of mail, or we had in on the fax line. Someone asked about our fastest revolver shooter in the world. That's Jerry Michalik, who was shooting the Smith & Wesson revolvers on the program a few weeks ago. And he was shooting a 625 Smith & Wesson, of course shooting several different guns, but that's a reference, a 625 and 45 ACP, full moon clips. And I tell you what, of course Jerry is a fantastic shooter. Well, sir, I know you have some information for us this week, and we're ready for it.
Johnny, I've got so much I don't know where to start. We've had a fair number of requests for copies of the information that I gave you about 3 weeks ago on executive orders. So many so that it's impossible for me to answer them individually unless you happen to send me a stamped self-addressed envelope. It'd be a little easier that way, because I can run them off a little bit on my Xerox machine if I can find that particular information again. However, there's a better way. My friend Schwanbeck, Marvin Schwanbeck in Marcella, Arkansas, who has written to us several times and has had always really good information. Incidentally, he's not very crazy about Bob Dole. And he told me we get all the executive orders, not just some of them, but all of them. In addition to that, just lanyap, you get the whole United States Code, too. That's somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 or 40 volumes. And it's all on a CD. Now, if any of you have CDs, there's a United States Code with 59,827 documents on this little old piece of plastic, and 2,422 executive orders. And I can't begin to do justice to condemning these things in an hour program. So I leave it to you to get this thing. It doesn't cost but $34. And believe me, that's less than one volume of the darn code costs ordinarily. This is available from government bookstores all over the country. The one nearest here is in Dallas, Texas, but it's United States government bookstore. And you'll probably find them in some major city, wherever you happen to live near. And for those of you that want to get a particular place, there's one in Dallas, and they have a phone, they have a fax. You can order it by fax. They'll put it on a credit card. Let me give you that fax number. It's 214-767. Now get your pencil and paper out. It's 214-767-3239. You can order it. They'll put it on a MasterCard or a Visa. If you've got a CD-ROM, then this is the way to do it, because you get 2,422 executive orders, and there isn't any way I could fax that many of them to you and send them to you at any reasonable cost. This business of the volume of information that can be put on a CD-ROM is just
Fantastic.
Absolutely fascinating. Our whole sum total of written documents can be put in one room this way, and a whole library full of stuff. Anyhow, the fax number for the government bookstore in Dallas, Texas is 214-767-3239, and you ask for the United States code on CD-ROM. Or if you want to get real specific on it, it is book 052-001 00438-8. Now, I don't know what all those numbers mean, and I really don't care. But you get the United States Code, and you get all of these executive orders, and you can study them for yourself and get aggravated all by yourself with it, because believe me,
Well, there's some outrageous things on there, aren't there, Judge?
absolutely totally outrageous. No way to talk about them any other way. And then there's Mr. Schwambeck also sent me a copy of the Army Technical Manual on Improved Munitions Handbook, published by the Army. Tells you all about how to make explosives, low-velocity explosives, high-velocity explosives, how to store it. I don't see how the government can fuss very much about your having all this information. They put it out themselves.
Because that's from the government. I mean, the government makes this available.
From the government. From the government.
Isn't that something?
Well, anyhow, to those nice people that want copies of the executive orders that I talked about 2 or 3 weeks ago, if you'll send me a stamped self-addressed envelope, I will try to get a couple of Xerox pages to you.
You can send it to us here at the program request, the Shooting Show, 554 Kings Highway, Shreveport, Louisiana, zip code 71104. Or you can just send to your office, huh, Judge? They can ask you.
Well, they can send it to my office, but it's they've already got your address, so why not just leave it at that?
Again, if you can address the judge here through the Shooting Show, 554 Kings Highway, Shreveport, Louisiana. Again, our zip code 71104.
Shooting Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
More and more often, women are faced with protecting themselves and their homes. But another way of protection is through information. And we at the Shootin' Show believe that the New American Magazine has the best information that you can possibly get.
You can get the New American by calling 1-800-727-TRUE. And those numbers, of course, are 1-800-727-8783. The New American, $22 for a 6-month subscription. It comes twice a month. Friends, you need this magazine if you want to know what's going on. And in times like this, we need both of these. We need our guns, and we darn sure need our information. Well, friends, I'm standing here with a young man, Kent Halsell, and we're going to show you something so neat because he's brought Halsell Microsystems briefcase boat. Now, that may not sound, you may not think you heard me just right, but this is such a great idea. Ken, essentially what you're saying, now we have a pickup today, but if you've got a car with a trunk, you can literally have your boat with you all the time. Is that right?
That's exactly right.
Well, friends, watch this.
One finger. There's no tools required to assemble the boat. How's this?
But what all can you use this thing for?
Well, any small stream, lakes, ponds, literally anywhere you can fish, this is ideal for. It'll fit in the trunk of most cars, in the back of a pickup. It's very light.
And one person can handle it easily.
Yes, sir. And when you get through, you merely open your door, pull it right in your house or apartment.
And nobody's going to go home with it that night except yourself.
And I have known several fishermen that love to fish. They keep one in their car at all times. When they pass a body of water or a pond, they can always pull off and they're instantly fishing. And there are millions of people that would love to have one of these.
Well, I personally think this is a great idea. Well, you're going to demonstrate this for us, right?
A little bit, yes, sir. For a duck hunter, we have a full cover accessory that camouflage you and your gun and so forth. And you're out of the cold water. It's just a wonderful little boat.
Friends, the briefcase boat is only $495 plus shipping and handling. Give Bobby or Al a call for information on the briefcase boat. That number is 1-800-728-8486. Again, 1-800-SAVE-YOUR-GUN, 728-8486. Things here that...
Oh, I got a lot of things here, Johnny. The National Rifle Association says, oh boy, they got all the anti-gun things out of the terrorism bill, Bushwa. Didn't do any such thing. They may have gotten some of them out, but they left in a bunch. Gun Owners America lets you know just what they left in. And believe me, this is the top organization for keeping you informed. They need money. Everybody needs money. I need money. I guess you need money too, Johnny.
Forgotten what it looks like.
But it's not much money, and you can help them, and you can do a wonderful thing for the cause. And they'll put you on their fax network if you have a fax machine. Here's what Dole had left in there. An amendment to increase Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms budget by $20 million a year through the year 2000. That's increase it $20 million a year, every year. So by the time the 5th year comes around, they increase it to $100 million a year. And it's in there, and this is a time when we were supposed to be cutting government expenditures. An amendment to extend the statute of limitations for violation of the 1934 Act from 3 years to 5 years. That's the Machine Gun Act. I'm not especially concerned about that one, I suppose. An amendment to expand the ability of the military to enforce civilian law. Dangerous, dangerous, dangerous. It's what the Founding Fathers had observed in Europe, that standing armies were used to to keep populations in order, to keep them subservient. The Founding Fathers did their best to keep this out of the Constitution, or to fix it where it could not be done. And now, with the world the way it is, I guess we've got to have a standing army. But the Posse Comitatus Act prohibits the use of the armed services in enforcing civilian laws, except in this anti-terrorism bill. Clinton wants to expand the function.
Well, that's alarming. I mean, this what you're saying is very alarming.
It's fearsome. It's absolutely fearsome. They get some help anyhow. Look at Waco. They use tanks, armored personnel carriers, machine guns, Black Hawk helicopters. Those were military weapons, and it was used against a band of relatively innocuous religious group. And why the press didn't get all upset about that is more than I can understand. Of course, they were excluded from the area, so they couldn't see what was happening. They got regular government briefings that gave you the government side of it. I wrote my senator, one of my senators today, and asked him if he really understood that the American people are afraid of the national government, because the national government terrorizes them. They terrorize them with the income tax. They terrorize them with this anti-terrorism bill, to use the military to enforce civilian law. The first thing you know, we're going to have a military dictatorship in this country.
Well, you know, what you're saying about being afraid of the police in traveling, of course, I do travel a good bit, and talk to people on CB radio, and what they've done, just like with the speed limit, see, nobody goes 55 miles per hour. I mean, in the United States, and everybody knows it's just a gaffe at extra revenue. The 55-mile-an-hour speed limit is a tremendous source of revenue. In fact, they would much prefer that as many people broke that speed limit by a little so they could get the extra tickets, extra tax money. There's a bill in Congress right now about this, in fact, to alleviate the national speed limit from the federal government, and I hope something can be done about it. But, you know, people, as I talk to them, they're scared to death of the police. They're afraid. We have a lot of policemen who watch this program. We do appreciate you, but the structure of government is building a wider and wider gulf between the average citizen and the police officer. Heck, now people are afraid they're going to be stopped and gotten out of their car and their car searched and whatever else. You know, it's outrageous what's going on, and the government is structuring this literally to terrorize the population. If you don't travel a lot, and you don't think that drivers are afraid of the police or what the police do to them, you just listen in on CB radio and hear how people are talking about, well, there's a policeman up here, and listen to what they say. And this is not just a few people. All over the country, people are afraid of being stopped by the police. Now, I think that's ridiculous, Judge.
Well, I hadn't gotten to the worst part about it. Part of the amendment to the bill was to allow the government to wiretap your home if a person subject to a wiretap order visits your home. Now, in the name of all that's holy, are you supposed to know that somebody is subject to a wiretap order? What this actually gets down to is the government being able to intrude on your private affairs, private business, conversations with friends, conversations with wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, are just plain business. It's none of their business, and they have no business being able to wiretap your telephones. And they have what they call roving wiretaps. Roving wiretaps. This means that no matter what telephone you're at, if you call a certain number, a wiretap automatically hooks in to get both sides of that conversation. I'm appalled. I really am. There were 3 Republicans that broke ranks with the Republicans on the committee, and Gun Owners of America, bless their hearts. Really, I can't praise GOA too much. I really can't praise them too much. And we could still offer you a $10 membership in GOA for a year through the Shootin' Show. They'll put you on their mailing list. You ask them to, they'll put you on their fax list. and they send you little stuff to send in. I've got some stuff here that I'll show you in a little bit. But they put out the word immediately on these three Republicans: Flanagan from Illinois, Hanneman from North Carolina, and Chabot from Ohio. They gave their phone numbers and fax numbers, and believe me, those rascals got deluged with information. The next day they changed their votes. These were people that had voted to put all of Representative Feinstein, Representative Sherman's votes, including a ban on most rifle bullets. Any rifle bullet penetrate
Any full metal jacket.
A so-called bulletproof vest.
That's right, that have been around for 100 years. Full metal jacket, rifle ammunition.
Well, it's empty. I've been down here shooting for a while. I tell you what, friends, I've only got this one magazine with me, but that's really not going to be a problem because with my C3 rapid loader, I can load this 30-round magazine in just a few seconds. So let's take a look at it. Now, friends, this is what the rapid loader looks like. It comes in a real nice...
Fill up the Uniclip with your ammo, and each Uniclip holds 30 rounds and can be used over and over. You get 3 Uniclips with your rapid loader. You can load a 30-round magazine in about 3 seconds. The price of the C3 rapid loader is only $39.95 plus $4 shipping and handling, Visa or MasterCard accepted. To see if the C3 system will fit your gun, call Bobby or Al at 1-800-SAVE-YOU-GUN. That's our 800 number, 1-800-728-8486. The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station. Friends, to advertise on the Shootin' Show, you can call Bobby or Al at 1-800-728-8486. Again, that's 1-800-728-8486.
Well, outside of these 3 Republican renegades who voted first against us as gun owners and then changed their votes the next day, there were 4 pro-gun representatives who were absent from the meeting. Howard Coble of a Republican of North Carolina, Steve Schiff, former sheriff, prosecutor, a Republican from New Mexico, one of our strongest supporters, Charles Kennedy, a Republican of Florida, and Rick Butcher, a Democrat of Virginia. Brings up another point. I got a call from GOA today at the office, and we were talking about various things, including their faxes what we could do. And I told them, I said, I'll give you a boost on the program tonight, and I'm really serious about it. They've got a telephone number there in Springfield, Virginia. If you don't know what their address is, send it to us here at the Shootin' Show. We'll get it to them. But in the meanwhile, if you want to call them, it's 321-8585. That's area code 703. 321-8585. They got a fax number, 321-8408. Great organization. They sent me some mail today, too. This is a fundraising letter, but they also gave some other things. They sent us some postcards. Now, I'm not much for filling out postcards and sending them in to elected officials because they don't pay too much attention to them because they're pre-printed. I added little ink things to it that maybe took it out of the pure printing category, and I am really concerned about a lot of these things. Representative Bartlett, Roscoe Bartlett from, I think he's from Maryland, had introduced the Citizens Self-Defense Act. That's the Republican version of the crime bill. And the Republican leadership has attached some real bad anti-freedom sections to that reform bill. They've carved up the Self-Defense Act, limited the right of self-defense to the home. The way the bill's now written, Bernie Goetz would be in jail. All gun owners with the legal right to carry a firearm for self-defense would not be protected by the Self-Defense Act as modified.
By the Republicans.
By the Republicans. Of course, they had Democrat help in doing it.
Oh, sure.
Even worse, their alterations to the bill would now federalize many firearms crimes and give the BATF broad new powers, allowing them to actually take jurisdiction away from state and local political organizations. Minor local firearms violations would, even to brandishing a firearm to discourage an assailant, could be subject to the prosecutorial discretion of the BATF jurisdiction and a 10-year minimum mandatory prison sentence. Now really, this is outrageous. Absolutely outrageous.
That's like if your home was under assault and you brought out a gun and said, look, you better leave us alone, and people left, they could come back and say that you had brandished a firearm, and if you lost that particular case in court, you'd face a 10-year minimum sentence. Is that right?
Yes, Johnny. Not quite, but almost. The trouble is that when you get charged with these things, when you win, you lose. When you lose, you really lose. But even when you win, you lose. Because by the time you've spent the time and effort that's necessary to defend yourself and the legal costs of defending yourself, you've lost. All of this is an effort to try to clamp down on the First Amendment freedom of speech, on the Second Amendment right of self-defense. And I'm telling you, these things are dangerous. I asked the senator, I said, do you understand that Americans are afraid of their government? Got some articles in the New American. Nice ones. Right problems, wrong solutions. Yeah, here it is. Battling terrorism with tyranny. Here's a picture of a Vietnam veteran at the wall in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I notice that this particular one is wearing the Congressional Medal of Honor.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not an easily won decoration.
Right.
Battling terrorism with tyranny.
Friends, if you're not getting the New
I can't tell you
American,
all of this. It's impossible to cover it. But as Johnny says,
if you're not getting the New American magazine, friends, trust me, you ought to. Watch for their number later on in the program, a different point. This is absolutely the finest news magazine that's available anywhere in this country today, and it is the New American, and you can get it by calling the 800 number we'll give you on our program. They actually spell out what's going on, and this is so important. The American people can make the right decisions if we're given the right information. if we have a proper understanding of what's going on, you don't have to worry. We'll make the right decision. Problem is, people don't understand what's going on. Don't you agree?
Well, that's what I think. The president says he's well familiar with the Constitution and is taught constitutional law. He's very concerned that whatever is submitted conform to the Constitution. Some fellow said, well, he may have taught it, but he sure didn't inhale it. Here's a solid conservative.
Yes.
Here's a solid conservative. I want you all to know, particularly those of you who live in Idaho, that there's a lady-type congresswoman from up there, and I can't pronounce her name.
Chenoweth.
Helen Chenoweth. She is great.
Absolutely.
Absolutely great. The press has been attacking her with falsehoods. The same thing has happened to a Denver, not a Denver, a Colorado state senator. I'm not sure where he's from, except he's in Colorado, and he's been titled arguably the most influential state legislator of 1995. His name is Duke, D-U-K-E, and the Denver Post has just ridden his back something terrible. You know, I can pretty well tell which way to vote by looking at the liberal press and seeing who they oppose the most.
Yep.
Or, alternatively, I can look and see how Congressman Shermer votes on something. I know it's got to be the other way. It just got to be.
Well, I think you're right.
If we have a viewer in New York City, won't somebody please run against Shermer? At least put him to work.
Somebody. Well, friends, that's one reason that it's so important doing what we do, is we get this information out to you at home, and it is absolutely essential. Again, this is the objective of the liberal press and our government, is to have us go back to sleep, to have the American public literally to go back to sleep and take this stuff and just let them worry about it. Well, friends, let me tell you what, they are working. If we're sleeping, believe me, they're working, and they're not about to stop. So, sir, I'm sure you have something else. What?
Well, I got an issue of the American Rifleman today. That's the National Rifle Association bulletin. And let me tell you, although I think GOA does a better job, I can't fuss about the NRA because they've got 3.5 million members. They are active politically. They finally come out of the closet and are fighting. And they're asking in this particular issue for your nominations for their board of directors for the elections to be held next year. You see, 1/3 of the NRA's board is elected every year, so that you always have a continuing board, just like the United States Senate, except that it's 1 year instead of every 2 years. Mm-hmm. And they've got a ballot in here for you to suggest to the nominating committee somebody for the board of directors, and I commend this to your thoughts. I happen to know that my name's already already been sent in or is about to be sent in.
So if you can vote, if you're an NRA member, please vote for Leroy Scott for the board of the NRA, because believe me, folks, they will be much, much more effective if, in fact, we can get you written in. We know you had quite a few write-in votes this past year. So,
I don't know how many I had, because the NRA doesn't ever publish the...
well, we heard from enough people around this country that did write in. So we really do appreciate it.
Well, for all of those who did, I say thank you. I'm not too sure I ought to be saying thank you, because I think that's a labor that doesn't pay anything and entails a lot of expense in going to meetings. If you ever paid a hotel room in Washington, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it's got to be done. Somebody's got to do it.
Somebody who's competent has to do it. So we would appreciate that very much in consideration for the good judge here.
Little old CD. Really, this is amazing how much information's on this thing.
It's all there.
Like a little boy who heard the clock strike, it wasn't working right, and he struck 13, and he went and running to Mama saying, "Mama, Mama, Mama, come quick, it's later than it's ever been before." Well, it's later than it's ever been before, and freedoms once lost sometimes take centuries to regain, if ever. Please, exercise your right to vote. influence your neighbors, write letters to the editors, and raise all kinds of unshirted Cain with your representatives when they don't vote in your best interest.
Friends, we're here in the Black Hills National Cemetery, and I tell you what, it's somewhat chilling to look around and see all these people, and these are primarily folks that have died in battle, and of course other places in the world, here from South Dakota. And this is a reminder of some of the people that have gone before that have fought so hard for not only what we have, but what we need to keep in this country, the ideals that made this country great. I tell you what, this is a most impressive spot.
We as Americans have the right to choose or pursue the best of anything. But when it comes to ammunition, for a handgun or rifle or even some specialty calibers, Corbon is the best.
You know, friends, it's rare in any field of manufacture that one particular company has a clear-cut advantage over the others. Well, in this case, it's Corbon Ammunition, Corbon Bullet Company, because they make the best handgun, long gun, and even some specialty caliber ammunition that's been real hard to get in the past. If you really want your handgun or rifle to perform at their absolute best, you need to find some Corbon ammunition. For information on where you can get Corbon, information on their product line, call them. Corbon Bullet Company, 1-800-626-7266. Again, give them a call. It's a free call, 1-800-626-7266. Trust me on this one. Corbon is the best there is.
For more information on the Jerry Miculek shooting classes, please call 318-949-1303. Again, that number is 318-949-1303.
If you would like to advertise on the Shootin' Show, you can call us at 1-800-SAVE-YOU-GUN. That's 1-800-728-8486. Our staff will be very happy to talk to you. Well, friends, it's happened again. We've run out of time for today's program. From Kurt, the judge, myself, we want to thank everyone for being with us for today's program, and we look forward to seeing you on the next Shootin' Show.